Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day here in the city of Columbus. We're so excited to join you to talk about neighborhood safety and what we're doing right now to take those efforts to the next level. As all of you know, my top three priorities are neighborhoods, neighborhoods, neighborhoods. In fact, we're making great progress in ridding our neighborhoods of nuisance properties, which are breeding grounds for blight, violence, drug activity, and other criminal elements. But we're also going after shameful landlords and property owners who perpetuate these dangerous conditions. A pivotal piece of this complex puzzle that we are solving together as a community. Nuisance properties and the issues they proliferate tend to intensify as we head into the warmer months of the year. It even feels a bit like spring out there today. That's why we're coming to you with this important update. We're working to get ahead of the curve. Our neighbors deserve nothing less than a safe place to raise their families and earn an honest living. A strong social fabric that both reflects and lifts up their values. Know that everyone here at the City of Columbus is doing our part to give every family in every neighborhood a fair shot to thrive and build a bright future. We're banding together across multiple departments to take on nuisance properties, and we've already seen some impressive results. From shuttering drug houses and derelict residences to prosecuting dangerous landlords, property owners, and business owners who jeopardize the health and safety of our neighbors, we're making a meaningful difference. Our zone initiative in the city attorney's office, for example, has been leading the charge, taking these bad actors who operate in bad faith to court, getting them to either improve conditions or to shut them down altogether. These cases are built on the work of dedicated professionals from the divisions of police and fire, as well as code enforcement, who serve on the front lines promoting the safety, security, and sanitation of homes, businesses, and structures all over our city. And as we've seen in recent years, our commitment doesn't end when we shut down a property or secure a court order mandating fixes, upgrades, or repairs. Just yesterday, the city launched a new pilot program to provide enhanced rehousing support for residents in smaller units who are vacated due to emergency orders. Meanwhile, we continue to provide a broad range of resources in emergency housing to ensure that tenants who are displaced from larger complexes like Latitude and Colonial Village are able to get back on their feet. This work is in a league of its own, the very definition of a collective community lift. And we couldn't do it without our partners at the county and throughout the local nonprofit sector, all of whom lend a vital and helping hand. I'm also grateful to our departments of development, public safety, and neighborhoods, who've been instrumental in coordinating the careful deployment of services at these sites, maximizing our combined impact under some unique and very difficult circumstances. Some of our neighbors in crisis, facing great odds. We're committed to continuous improvement, listening to the needs and concerns of our community, and being as purposeful and intentional as we can to be there with a solid, comprehensive response. To break down some of our recent successes and to give you all a preview of the new and expanded resources we're bringing to bear as a city, it's my pleasure to introduce our city attorney, Zach Klein.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Ginther. I appreciate it. And to the Chief and Ms. Barnes and Councilmember Favor, thank you for joining us today. When I ran for city attorney all the way back in 2017, if you can believe it or not, it was a priority, a campaign pledge of mine that we were going to double down and expand and continue to be aggressive on cleaning up Columbus's neighborhoods, because every family deserves a fighting chance to succeed, and every family deserves and expects to live next to a safe, sanitary place in a really strong neighborhood. Safe and strong neighborhoods are the heart of a world-class city, and Columbus is a world-class city. We've shut down drug houses that have been pouring narcotics onto our streets, gang houses where violence has emanated from. We've shut down bad businesses, violent places that have destroyed or tried to destroy our neighborhoods. And we've held every landlord that is running a subpar or substandard housing complex that's below code and not taking care of their tenants to task. And we've done that with our zone team. And I see our zone team here. Will you at least raise your hands? Because these are the lawyers and the social workers that are in the trenches every day. Every single day. And so my predecessor, Rick Pfeiffer, started the Zone Initiative all the way back in 2008. And it was a pilot program that was designed to be some part-time work for city attorneys to do on the side. I think they quickly realized that it is very much a full-time job. And what happened was we made a commitment, my predecessor, Rick, and then myself as the city attorney, to build upon that and continue to be aggressive where every police zone, then 5, now 6 chief, has a lawyer embedded in that police zone to work with community leaders like Quay Barnes, to work with property owners, to faith leaders in those neighborhoods to help identify where the problem properties are, how we can get ahead of them, meet with the owners, and hold those people accountable for the violence or destruction they're trying to put on our neighborhoods and our neighbors who certainly do not deserve it and are trying to raise their family in a safe and secure environment. And so we've shut down and done a record number of filings since I've been the city attorney. And as I look forward, we're going to continue that pace. But since 2018, January of 2018, we filed nearly 250 cases for criminal activity against, including against more than 130 houses, 7 apartment complexes, and more than 25 bars and illegal after-hour clubs that continue to pop up in our city. We've won millions of dollars in fines against derelict property owners and helped put money back in the pockets of tenants where it belongs. We've also done 69 liquor objections. And we've seen that we filed more than 3,000 cases for code violations since 2018 to lift up our neighbors and the neighborhoods that they live in. And we've seen the effectiveness, that this isn't just statistics and talking points, that our team did a study a couple years ago that once a problem property or a drug house or a gang house is shut down in a neighborhood, we've seen about a 60% decrease in calls for service and violent crime on that street in that neighborhood. That is a win for every parent that's trying to raise a family here in our community. And I want to thank, like the mayor did, the Department of Development, specifically the Code Division. I see our friends from Code here. Will you please raise your hand too, because I want to acknowledge the great work that they're doing. Of course, our friends at the Division of Police and City Council, who helps fund the great work that we do. But this is a balance. This is a balance. At the same time that we're battling blighted properties, shutting places down and holding bad landlords accountable, we recognize that we're also in the midst of a housing crisis. So at the same time, we're investing in elderly residents, for example, to help them maintain their homes that they've owned for many years so they can stay in their homes. A common sense approach to lift up our families. As Columbus continues its historic growth, so too must our efforts to keep problem properties contained. And that's why we're making a number of announcements here today. First, while our zone attorneys, what previously known as the zone attorneys, may be familiar to area commissions and people plugged into local politics, the work touches a lot of different things. So we're rebranding the Zone Initiative to the Property Action Team. This rebrand, it better tells a story of exactly the work that these lawyers and social workers do in the trenches of our neighborhoods every day. They address problem properties and they take action to clean them up. Second, because as I mentioned, we're adding have added a 6th police zone, we're going to add a 6th lawyer to make sure that we maintain our commitment that there is a lawyer assigned to every police zone in the city of Columbus so that our neighbors, our community leaders, our block watch folks, they know exactly who to interface from the city attorney's office and liaison with the Division of Police and Code to hold bad landlords and bad property owners accountable. Third, we're adding a full-time social worker to better assess the needs of individuals in our community affected by the bad actors that are the bad property owners. Because it's just not enough to close down a property. We have to help those pick up the pieces. So they'll be joining some interns from the Ohio State University and expanding upon the partnership that we have with the Ohio State University College of Social Work, using the expertise we have right in our backyard to help families in need after a place is shut down. Fourth, we're planning to release an annual report to track our progress every year, to make sure the work that we're doing is reflective of the decreases calls for service, the decrease in crime, so that we know and we can tell the story to the taxpayers, the citizens of the people of the city of Columbus, why we're doing this important work. And finally, we know that most of our cases begins with community tips, so we developed and expanded resources to help educate the public about who the Property Action Team is, why we have it, and how they play an important part of the solution. The people of the Columbus are the fuel of the Property Action Team. It starts with a tip from you, the citizen, that then our Property Action Team can work with code or work with the Division of Police to shut down problems in your neighborhood. But it starts with you, and we need your help. So we're going to provide you with the tools that are necessary so that you can help us deal with problem properties in your community. So we have a little video that we're going to roll at this time, and then the next speaker you'll hear is going to be our great Division of Police Chief Elaine Bryant. Every Columbus neighborhood has its own story, but a common aspiration: to be a good, safe place to live, work, go to school, operate a business, and raise a family. That's why public safety is our top priority.
When problem properties undermine public safety, the Columbus City Attorney's Property Action Team steps in to make a difference.
Property Action Team attorneys know the communities they serve because they're in them every day, meeting with neighborhood leaders, business owners, residents, and families about what matters most: your safety.
The Property Action Team works closely with police, fire, public health, code enforcement, and community leaders to identify problem properties and find solutions that improve safety and strengthen neighborhoods.
Whether it's working with business owners to improve security or taking legal action to hold bad actors accountable, our goal is to do what's best for the neighborhood.
Sometimes that means boarding up a drug house, shutting down a dangerous bar or market, or holding problem landlords accountable for unsafe, unsanitary living conditions.
It's about advancing safe neighborhoods, and we do whatever it takes to make that happen.
Under City Attorney Zach Klein, the City of Columbus has shut down a record number of dangerous drug houses and problem properties that threaten public safety.
And we've delivered major wins for thousands of Columbus residents dealing with problem landlords and unsafe living conditions.
But that's just part of our work. The Property Action Team also connects residents to critical services to improve the quality of life in all of our neighborhoods.
This all starts with you. The majority of our cases begin with a community complaint. So if you see something, say something. It takes all of us working together to advance safe neighborhoods.
The City Attorney's Property Action Team is here to help.
Here to help.
Here to help.
We're here to help.
The City Attorney's Property Action Team is here to help.
Great video. I didn't follow that.
Well, the officers were just on Sunday.
No, thank you, City Attorney Klein, Mayor Ginther. Our partnerships are important. So we're talking about city entities, we're talking about county, we're talking about our community partners. From a safety perspective, the Division of Police, we partner with all of our partners because we understand the ripple effect that problem properties have in our community, like the drug house.
Bars, which could lead to fights, gun violence. Our derelict landlords, which could lead to unsafe and unsanitary and unlivable conditions, which can then also lead to crime. Cleaning up these problem properties is an investment in public safety and in our neighborhoods. The division, we receive complaints or tips. What do we do when we get those tips? We investigate, we gather evidence, and we work with the Property Action Team to take the most appropriate course of action, which could be taking an owner to court to shut down the property, or it could be using our experience, if they choose, to work with them to improve safety and security of a site. We want to see businesses thrive. We want to see every house in our neighborhood contribute to the fabric of our community in a positive way. But we know that's not always the case. We know there are owners that will refuse to work with us, who don't consider public safety to be their responsibility. We have and we will continue to shut these properties down and board them up. We see that almost every time the city takes action against a drug house, violent bars, bad landlords, there's a reduction in crime and calls for service, just like the city attorney talked about. We will continue to work collectively to reduce crime, improve quality of life, and strengthen our neighborhoods. That's our pledge. And with that, I'll bring up Councilmember Favor.
Thank you, Chief Bryant. First, I want to express my immense gratitude to Mayor Ginther and City Attorney Zach Klein for their vision and their leadership. Whether it's through passing expansive tenant protections, common sense gun legislation, or as a past attorney in this division, safety has and must continue to be a top priority for myself and for the city of Columbus. I know personally how effective the Property Action Team is because I was once in their shoes. I served as a then zone attorney for what was Zone 5, which included downtown, the Near East Side, and the South Side areas of Columbus. And I've seen firsthand what this work means for residents and for families in Columbus's neighborhoods. When the city goes in and shuts down a drug house or takes a problem landlord or owners of dangerous businesses to court, we absolutely get results. Disrupting the flow of drugs into our streets, shutting down or revoking liquor licenses or violent establishments, and drawing a line in the sand on deplorable living conditions have a real positive effect on the quality of life in our neighborhoods. Eliminating blight gets to the heart of protecting public safety. City Council is proud to support the collaborative work across the city to take on these problem properties, from the police work that gathers evidence to investing in code enforcement, public health, and critical services to keep property owners honest and providing for the welfare of our fellow residents when times get tough. At Council, we have made a commitment to the former tenants of Latitude 525 and Colonial Village, making sure that they have what they need to get back up on their feet, and simply because it's the right thing to do. These folks have had their lives upended through no fault of their own, but at every step of the way, the city, the county, and community and corporate partners have stepped up to go above and beyond what's customary in other cities. The mobilization of these resources and commitment to going the next step beyond just shutting down a property is what sets Columbus apart and why we're up here today, so excited about the future of our collaboration in this space. With that, it is now my honor to introduce a fierce community advocate, Ms. Quay Barnes, who currently serves as the Community Outreach Director for the Mid-East Area Commission.
Good morning. I'm excited. I am Quay Barnes, and I have lived on the East Side for 40 years. I came here because I was married and I was starting a family, and the East Side was close to the airport, downtown, it was affordable, and it had a rec center and a library that was safe. Sadly, that's changed over the years. The good people of this community work to make it better every day. The Greater East Side Coalition, which consists of the Mideast, Far East, and Greater Southeast Commissions, have worked together to keep crime up from either of us so that it doesn't go from one commission to the next. Okay. And we extend our continued thanks to the city attorneys, code enforcement officers, police liaisons, Far East Neighborhood Center, also Mayor Ginther and City Attorney Klein for the support throughout the years. All of you carried out the tough and important work to make our community safer. But now, that is why I'm just as happy and grateful to both of you for elevating this effort to the establishment of a nuisance property action team. For years, nuisance properties such as Lounge 13, redubbed the Lux Lounge, the Pelican Club, redubbed the Queen of Hearts Club, and apartment complexes such as Colonial Village have been a deterrent to the goals of our MAC communities to provide safe and inviting environments for which our residents and businesses can thrive. These establishments have been a nuisance in East Side communities for far too long. The noise, the crime, The general disruption of our peace in our area is well documented. Intoxicated drivers put us in danger, and litter in our area is totally unacceptable. From fights, disorderly conduct, and finally, whether it's going to happen, shootings and murders, we see no redemptive value in the continuation of their existence or in others attempting to come into our area. Therefore, we're lending our total support to the establishment of the Property Action Team. It is my dream that our communities throughout the city will once again have places where people can rent and eventually buy their first homes, young families to seek out and raise their children, and people like my husband and I to retire. Our neighborhoods belong to those who own and rent property, worship and work within, and otherwise make a commitment to its betterment. And today I am reassured, really reassured, that the work from the past and the Property Action Team in the future will be a big step toward getting us there. This has been an answer to many, many of my prayers. Thank God and thank all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. You have my commitment that we've laid terrific groundwork over the past 7 years, filing record numbers of cases, and we're just getting started for the future with the partnership with council, the community, police, the mayor's office, development. We're just getting started for the next iteration of shutting down bad properties, problem landlords, violent places, and improving the quality of life to make this the world-class city that it is. So at this time, we'll take some questions if there are any. Yes, ma'am. Licensed social worker to join those interns and lead, because unfortunately the work is too great. The work is in high demand of connecting people with resources, of educating them of the opportunities they have to turn their lives around and get connected with what they need in order to succeed for their family. So adding the full-time social worker will really be able to lift families up in our community, and they'll be able to lead a team of interns as well from The Ohio State University. And I think being able to have that partnership with the university in this area and the others is really great for the city to find those partnerships, because they're training the next generation of leaders, whether it's social work engineers or otherwise, that we're able to partner with the city with them to identify areas of opportunity to lift everybody up.
Do you get many community tips, or of course you're hoping to get more, but how many are you seeing on a daily basis?
Oh, how many do you do, Quay? Yeah, we get a lot of community tips, and you know, it really does. I can't stress this enough, and not to be a broken record, but it really does start with the community. It really does start with the community tip, because the reality is, folks like Quay Barnes and other community leaders, like, they're the eyes and ears on the ground every day in their neighborhoods. Like, they see every single day that potential problem property, that drug house. Of course, the obvious unfortunate instances of violence, shootings, they come into the radar screen through police, but not every property starts that way. And if there's a way that we can head it off at the pass by having community tips come in where we can identify the property so it doesn't lead to a shooting and it doesn't lead to someone's loss of life or an overdose or a violent act that happens next to a playground, that's a win for our community and something that we strive for every day in the city attorney's office. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for Chief Bryant, actually. How effective is this action, and how do you know that? Do you have examples of ways that this has actually, made progress in neighborhoods?
Oh, absolutely. And we work very closely with the Property Action Team, because it's important that, like the city attorney talked about, that we get ahead of it. But there are times when there are smaller crimes that occur that may not necessarily get on people's radars. And when we have our meetings, we bring the attorneys in and we have those conversations, and we're able to sometimes nip that in the bud almost immediately. So we have many examples of when we went in and there were property owners that actually worked with us to actually get their properties up to speed and to deflect from the crime, and they were great partners. And then there were other times when they weren't great partners, and we ended up shutting those down with the help of the Property Action Team. So I could give you numerous examples of how that's been effective, and we're going to continue to forge forward and keep doing that.
Off the top of your head, what's that split like between the amount of property owners, landlords who are actually being cooperative versus the ones who are more combative and maybe you have to force your hand?
You probably have to ask the attorneys. They could give you better numbers regarding that, but I can definitely tell you they're on both sides of the house.
Let me say, we are very fortunate in this town that the vast number of property owners, whether it's owner occupied or landlord, are good people. They want to do the right thing, and they do the right thing. But unfortunately, there's a small number that don't. And that small number is one that finds the ire of code, the ire of police, and certainly the ire of the city attorney's office that we're going to hold accountable. The reality is, once you find yourself in court with the city attorney's office, you have failed every warning and reach out along the way. We just don't go zero to court unless we have to, because of like a massive event that would happen. It's because we've reached out and they have failed to respond. We've offered suggestions of how they can improve their property, and they refuse to do so. So the reality is, most folks, even if they own a problem property, once they are alerted of it, they fix it. And that's a good thing, that they've shown and demonstrated the will to do it. But unfortunately, there's a small batch that don't, and they're the ones that we're not afraid to file a lawsuit against.
Yeah. I guess the most recent larger case that comes to mind, of course, is the ongoing case with the Greyhound bus station. How do you think with this property, I know it's not a new team, these are existing lawyers and attorneys, but do you think there's going to be an increase with the amount of cases going to court with an increased focus on this?
So is your question an increased number of cases that are going to go to court? Yeah, look, those are things that are beyond our control, but the reality is we will continue an aggressive stance as we receive community tips, as we work with code and the Division of Police. We will do the reach out to the landlord and property owner to fix their property. If they refuse, then we will file a lawsuit. And that's where I think, you've seen the record number of cases we filed, because unfortunately there's been a group of landlords and property owners that don't want to be part of the solution, that don't want to help out the community that they invested in. And I don't find that acceptable, and I'm pretty sure no one else on this dais does as well. And we're going to continue to be very aggressive in holding those people accountable.
When you do shut down a problem property, how do you follow up with that owner to ensure that they're not just going to the other side of town and opening up a new place and starting business?
Well, a lot of times our lawsuits can actually enjoin the owner of the property from maintaining a nuisance at all of his or her properties across the city of Columbus. So they could be in contempt of court, not just for the property that we have under lawsuit, but for any property they own. One more question? Are we good? Well, I really appreciate everyone coming. Thank you so much, and thank you for the partnerships with council, the community police, and you, Mayor, and your team. We have a lot of work to do, but we have a great base to start from. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you.
Thank you.